Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm on this journey of mine that I'm working on of making my very first manga. And making a manga, in a sense, can be very, I'd say, intimidating. And the reason why it can be intimidating is because there's a lot of things that's incorporated with building a manga. I mean, you gotta do the world building. You have to make all these characters, these personalities, the power structure, how things work in this world. And I have an idea of how I want the power structure and things to be, but the world building, all these things that tie into it is a little difficult for me. So, where are you going? I'm right here. Okay. So, what's up with man? My camera is wilding right now. So unless there's a ghost or something in here that I don't know about. Sorry. So building this world and things like that is not easy for me, and I've been procrastinating for a very long time with this. But can you, hey, can you please stay right here? Stay focused on me, please. Okay, I'm the focus point of this video. Okay, thank you. This is a gimbal. I don't know what's going on with it. So, I've been procrastinating this for a long time, and now I have been drawing things and working on it and working on steps to it. And everybody has their different ways of world building. People have their different ways of creating their own characters or whatnot. And I'm trying to figure out what mine is, and I'm thinking music is a really good way, right? So it's like, let's look at some examples of some great animes out there, okay? Baki the Grappler, right? The who, what, when, where, how. Who, okay, is Baki the Grappler. That's the name of the character, Baki the Grappler. Who, what is the purpose of this? Well, he wants to become the strongest man in the world. Where? This is happening in Japan. When? You could look at this as like, I'd say somewhere in the mid 90s, maybe early 2000s or something like that. Who, what, when, where, and how? How did all this happen? Well, his father was, hand selected by a demon to wage war. He's one of the strongest guys, and his grandfather, and so forth and so forth. And when he had, you see how Baki was conceived. So it's like you have this whole world that's been built around fighting and strength and power and the goal of a character, right? And that's what I'm thinking. Like, I have this really dope concept that I rarely ever share with anybody, and I'm not going to do it on here. But you have a dope concept, but I'm trying to, it's like putting a puzzle together, and I'm trying to put a puzzle together and do something that I've never seen done before, and also make it fit, make it make sense, like how I want things to operate. But then sometimes you can get too intricate. Like if you watch Baki the Grappler, when they do fighting scenes or bones break or whatever moves, they have a great explanation of why this happened, how it happened, and the history of it and everything. Whereas with a Pokemon just has powers because it has powers. It's a Pokemon, so I'm thinking like, okay, when it comes to certain power structures, when it comes to certain things that I have, do I want to really break it down that far? Do I really want to have all these intricate details about how things operate in the world? So I kind of got the who down pat. Like I finally was able to draw the character. The what, it's 50 and 50 with the what. I have part of the what, but I can't, not that I can't, I haven't put together the full scenario of the what. When I'm in between on the when, because you got to think about it. Like if you want to do an anime or a manga that's based in like the 1800s, okay, do you want them to be afforded certain technologies? Do you want them to have cell phones? Do you want them to have beepers, pagers? Do you want them to be in the modern world? Okay, well, if they're in the modern world, there are certain things they may not be able to get away with. Are they going to know about certain pop culture things that are happening now? You can't make certain references if they're in a certain time. So there's a lot of things like that I'm thinking about as well. So you got the who, what, when, then the where. Are you going to build your own world from scratch? Kind of like, Luffy and them in the One Piece or in the Grand Line. Or you could do it kind of like, DC Comics or, you know, Marvel, where it's like, okay, Gotham City isn't a real place, but it still exists in the earth somewhere. But hey, there's a Gotham City, there's a metropolis. It's just a different part, but it's still the world. Who, what, when, where, and then why or how. How does this transpire? And I kind of got that part kind of down packed. Why it's happening, how it's happening in a sense, but I'm still kind of 50-50 on those. So this is just a great exercise for me. Look, I mean, nobody ever watched this video, cool, but this is a great exercise for me to be able to brainstorm and just think about this story that I have, along with all the other things that I have going on, as to how am I going to make this thing pop? How am I going to make this thing happen? What's the point? What's the point of this story? You know, why am I invested into this story? What does the character want? What's the end goal? Those are the most important questions that I'm thinking about right now. Like Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. His goal is to be, he wants to, I guess he wants to become a Pokemon master, if you will, right? So I don't think his goal was to collect every single Pokemon. Now the show premise is, yeah, got to catch them all, but he wants to become a Pokemon master. He wants to beat the other trainers. He wants to collect Pokemon. Dragon Ball Z, it started out with Dragon Ball, whereas it's to collect the Dragon Balls. Now, eventually, will you stop? I really don't know what your problem is today. But the point of Dragon Ball was to collect the 7 Dragon Balls and be able to make a wish from the dragon. Like the whole thing was going on this adventure, collecting the 7 Dragon Balls. Now it grew over time, you know, but then you have some people like Attack on Titan. I heard that the creator of Attack on Titan, you know, he started out with the end. He started out with the end. He already knew where the end of the story was when he was younger. And he had to do all these things to build up to that, right? Now, that's a great strategy as well. Naruto, another prime example. He wanted to be the Hokage. He wanted to, you know, be a leader for the Leaf Village. You know, he wanted to be the Grand One. He wanted to do that. You know, that was his whole thing from the beginning, being a Hokage. He always talked about it. That was the goal. Luffy, hey, find the One Piece. You know, he's going to become king of the pirates. So you have like 2 different things in there. So I'm looking at all these things and the why, the goal. I think about these things a lot. And I want to just start doing videos as well, talking about these things, because I am an artist, if you can't tell. I love to draw. And coming up with some of these things is really, really important for me on my art journey, on my manga journey. Now, all the intricate little details and stuff like that, I'm not going to share on here, probably be part of my membership for people who want to support. But there will be things that I relay or pictures that I may share, but I just won't go into detail here on this YouTube channel. Or, you know, you'll be able to find behind the scenes stuff on the membership or on my Patreon. But I just want to talk about this because as an artist, as somebody who wants to be creative, there's a lot of us out here who wants to create a story. We all want to have our own characters. We all want to have our own concepts and things like that that we're working towards. And these are some of the burning questions that I have to ask myself when I come to think about making an anime or a manga or something like that that will captivate a reader, you know? And then even like with the power scaling and stuff like that, it's just like, you know, are there powers? Are there belief systems? Are there religions? Are there principles? Is there a ruler? Is there an empire? Is there a kingdom? Is there a government? Is there, like, there's so many different things. Even with Dragon Ball Z, I don't think they really got into that. It was more so with the heaven, hell, you got gods and things like that you really had to worry about, or tyrants, if you will. But even in Dragon Ball Z, I mean, Frieza literally was like a government tyrant who was selling planets and things like that he had to worry about. You know, Naruto, very political. I mean, you had different clans and all this, and you had beefs, this, that, and the third. There's a power structure there. You know, there's leadership, there's clans, there's rulers, there's people who are backstabbing and going outside of the core values of their clan. If you look at Pokemon, you know, there was a government and everything set up. You had the police, you had the Pokemon hospitals, you had the gyms, the stadiums, you had all these things set up. You know, so I'm thinking about those things too. How do I want all these people to clash? How do I want them to meet? How do I want this world to be built? How do I want things to work in this time zone? It's so many questions that once you set in stone, this is how your world is going to work. You can't really deviate from that. You can't be futuristic one minute and then next thing you know, they're in a prehistoric Stone Age, you know, or then they're in the Roman Empire, or then they're in the medieval time. Like you're going to have to stick with something. And I'm going to be doing some notes later on today, figuring out my time period. Now, I kind of have a way that I want to do it, though, on a slick note. What's a good example? What's a good example of how I could do this, man? I'm trying to think. Because this is the thing. Okay, here's a prime example. When it comes to Dragon Ball, or even when it came to Dragon Ball, they live in rural areas, right? So in the Dragon Ball world, they live in a rural area. A lot of times they are off grid. Like Goku and Chi-Chi, they're pretty much off grid, right? And then they go to certain places they're rural. They don't have a lot of things. But then when you go to the cities, it's like they got the Capsule Corporation. They got all this futuristic technology. Like a lot of people don't talk a lot about this in Dragon Ball, but I love the technology in Dragon Ball Z where you can hit a button, hit the capsule. Hey, focus. Thank you. Where you can hit a capsule and the capsule will explode and it'll turn into any item that you need. Very, very convenient for that type of show. Now, they didn't always utilize it a lot. You know, it was always subplot and things like that, but that is a really great thing in their world that they have, the Capsule Corporation, which Bulma, father and her, and she owns. So another good example of that would be like your Hunter x Hunter, right? So if you have your Hunter x Hunter, you know, they got sucked into a video game. You know, like they have, like, if you looked at the way not Gone, but Killua's family live, you would have thought they were off grid, some old castle. You ain't see a whole lot of, yeah, you did see the TVs and stuff. His brother did have TVs, but it was just a different vibe. It was a different feel. It wasn't like, no, they did have technology. You know what? They did have phones, cell phones, but when they got sucked into the video game, it was like then they were in a whole nother world. Or the Chimera Ant situation, which is like a whole nother world. Like, their world was so big, even with the Luffy and the pirates and stuff. Like that's a pretty cool way. Their technology was similar, but it was different. Instead of having a cell phone, you had a snail. You had like all these different weird things, man. And it's just like being creative in that aspect is awesome. And I just want to make sure that however I build this, however I built the feel of this, you know, I won't regret. And that's why I really want to make sure. And I'm like, am I overthinking it? Should I just go ahead and just go? But these are very, very important questions to ask. So you guys let me know. I don't know if any of you guys ever made your own manga or ever had your own book, your own character, anything like that. But I would greatly appreciate if you guys let me know what you think. And yeah, we'll go from there, man. So that's what I'm working on, man. Who, what, when, where, why when making a manga or anime is super, super important. And I hope you guys follow me on this journey as we do this thing together. I'll talk to y'all later.